All right, folks, once again, I am Tom. That is Jimmy. We know we're in the midst of NBA free agency officially starting, but there could be some big trades that happen too, Jimmy.
There sure could, and I'm excited for that just as much as I'm excited for free agency.
So we're going to take you through some notable NBA players who could be traded and what those deals could look like. First up, how about Kevin Love, who I think the Cavs should definitely trade him?
I think they should definitely look to trade him, but actually making that trade become a reality becomes a little bit more problematic. But I think we've come up with something pretty nice here for a Kevin Love trade.
Despite the contract side, which is very bloated and really nerfs his value, I think there is some value to be had here, and there's some decent return coming back, and potentially, of course.
I agree. Every time I look at Kevin Love's contract, it kind of surprised me. Oh my gosh, this guy's under contract till 2023.
So long and for so much.
Wow, But a good thing about Kevin Love, despite his injuries, his game is not dependent on like his explosiveness or his age.
Yeah.
And in all reality, the older he's gotten, the better his body has gotten in shape. He's just injury prone. That's his biggest problem, and he's too old for the Cavaliers' timeline.
All right, so here's a potential Kevin Love trade. I think if a team makes a deal for him, I think Portland is the fit. I think that makes the most sense for all parties involved because they don't have any money to spend. They send out Mo Harkless, Myers Leonard. Those are the salary cap fillers that actually make sense for them. Skull is maybe a guy that can develop on Team 3. It's worth trying. And a future first-round pick, so they get something back there.
I like it for both teams. I actually do like Myers Leonard, and I do think Labissiere would be a good reclamation project for the Cavaliers. And then a first-round pick. Now, who knows how good Portland's going to be in a couple of years. That first-round pick could be worth, in the late 20s, or it could be, if Portland tanks in the lottery at some point. So I like it. It gives Kevin Love a guy to absolutely help them make another push for the Western Conference Finals.
Is what their lineup could look like here. We'll throw Nasir Little in that starting lineup.
Right.
Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't, but it's a worthwhile investment. Maybe by the end of the season he's starting, and that'd be ideal for them. You still have Yusuf, Kevin Love, McCollum Lillard. I don't know if that's a finals winner, but with the West in a bit of uncertainty right now, I think it's a worthwhile attempt.
I mean, this team with, not Nasir Little obviously starting or Kevin Love, they were in the Western Conference Finals. Like, it feels like that happened like 3 years ago. It happened like a couple months ago that they were in the Western Conference Finals against the Golden State Warriors, a few games away from being in the NBA Finals. And if you can keep Kevin Love healthy, I think this is a top 4 team in the West, depending on how free agency shakes out.
So if they get Kevin Love, does Portland make it back to the Western Conference Finals? Yes or no?
I'll say with the way the West is structured right now, with the players that are in teams and finalized have trades or already set up in contracts, I would say yes, they could get back to the Western Conference Finals.
All right, next up then, how about Steven Adams? We'll have some focus here on big men, by the way, funny enough. Oklahoma City is desperate to get under the luxury tax.
Right.
The simplest way to do that, and maybe have some money to spend on, a player they get back in return, is by trading away Steven Adams, which I think opens up a big hole at center, but they're at least considering this.
Yeah, and he did have a bit of a down year this past season.
He's still young, though.
He is people think he's, a 30-year-old because of how old he looks. He's like, what is he, 25?
He's 25. He's going to turn 26 this year. But, every time I forget, I go, Adams is he's almost in his 30s because I feel like he's been in the league for a long time now, but he's still very young.
Yeah, I like Adams a lot. Even though he did have the down year, he was still super efficient offensively. Defensively, he took a step back, but he is probably the strongest guy in the NBA right now. I mean, ridiculously strong, and just a great locker room guy too. Everybody loves Steven Adams.
So I think a team that makes sense as a trade partner here, the Sacramento Kings. So they have the rosters, the cap space to re-sign Barnes and add Adams. I don't know if that's a true top half team, but it could be a playoff team.
It'd be an NBA League Pass team. It'd be a lot of fun to watch. De'Aaron Fox was in the running for most improved player. I believe Buddy Hield should have been in the running for most improved player as well. He put up 20.7 points per game, and then Barnes and Bagley and Adams.
And we know how effective Adams is on the pick and roll. De'Aaron Fox can run that well. Buddy Hield in the corner with Harrison Barnes. I think that works really well.
I really love that team for Sacramento. And then you got to look at what they could give up, which wouldn't be that much.
When I wrote down for the notes before we built this out, I said, doesn't matter. You put together this, though.
Yeah, I think they have to give him something because Oklahoma City as a franchise does value Steven Adams. So you got to give him something that makes him at least say, yeah, that's enticing enough. Harry Giles had a pretty good year when he wasn't hurt, but injuries are a problem, but he's a good young piece, okay?
And if you're bringing in Adams, you have Marvin Bagley, Giles kind of becomes that third man, you can part with him if you want to.
Yeah, and then I threw Frank Mason in there just because I think they're kind of tired of Dennis Schroeder as their backup point guard.
And if they wanted to, Mason could be waived as well.
Yep. So,
and then picks.
And then second round picks. I put the S in parentheses because I'm not sure how many it would actually take. Second round picks, maybe a first round that's heavily protected for Sacramento.
All right, so what should Oklahoma City do with Steven Adams? Type T to trade him, K for keep him. Look, if you're trying to win games, I think you got to trade somebody else. You should trade Dennis Schroeder and deal with the luxury tax if you have to. But
yeah, and again, I think he's way too valuable to that franchise to trade, and you're not going to get equal value in return.
Longer this goes, though, the longer I feel like it's going to be Adams because that tells me they have not found a taker for any combination of Andre Roberson or Dennis Schroeder yet.
I think that's a pretty good prediction. So I would be typing K for keep here.
All right, folks. Again, if you're sick of these spam bots in the live chat, type bot in there. I see you guys doing it. Thank you all very much. Type bot to let YouTube know about it. We report them, but we need your help. Type bot. That's the best way because I don't know where they came from. They keep popping up. It's all the same ones. There's one right now. Type bot.
Wow, that was quick. Oh my gosh, there's another one.
It's the same one. Type bot. Thank you, Shelly and Sniping God. Thank you. Oh, Sniping God. Great name for a bot sniper. Thank you very much. So type in bot, and we'll do what we can as we fight that losing battle, I guess, in the end there. Let's move on now to Clint Capela. And this, of course, would definitely part, as we get to in a minute, somebody else. But Capela is on the trade block, and it's not because they want to dump his salary or they don't think he's good, but Houston wants to get one Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, and that's what the whole motivation for this deal. They just signed Clint Capela last season to a huge deal, and now all of a sudden they think they're in the running for Jimmy Butler, but they can't do that without getting rid of a guy, and one of those main guys would be Clint Capela, and it's the guy you can also get some good value back for with, picks or hint, hint, wink, wink, Jimmy Butler there. I don't know. I think it would definitely be interesting, and it's definitely a guy you have to look to move.
So Capela is one of those. Butler's another one. So here's a potential 3-team trade, and we'll get that logo fixed for you guys too here. Butler goes to Houston, Clint Capela goes to the Kings, and then 76ers get Eric Gordon.
Yeah.
And a future first from Sacramento.
And I actually kind of like this deal for everybody involved.
I dig this a lot.
I mean, you kind of came up with it and kind of threw this together. Tell me why you like it, and then I'll kind of give you some of my thoughts as well.
Houston, in order to get Jimmy Butler, they have to move some combination of Clint Capela, PJ Tucker, and Eric Gordon. Capela brings you the most in terms of actually getting a first-round pick back. You can ship that to the 76ers. They get Eric Gordon to provide some extra shooting, which they desperately need.
Yep.
The Kings get a future starting caliber center for both now and the long term. Houston gets their guy. Sixers get something actually decent back for Jimmy Butler. Maybe there's some extra picks involved there, but I think this makes a lot of sense.
I like it for all parties involved. I think it gets something accomplished for every single team.
And there's the report, by the way, that the Rockets think they have a trade partner lined up. I think it's either the Kings or the Hawks.
I like that. Those two.
So Houston, meanwhile, this is what their roster looks like. They have their big three of Jimmy Butler, CP3, and James Harden. They get to keep PJ Tucker for defense. You got two great defenders there in Jimmy Butler and PJ Tucker. Center's a giant question mark because Dene knocked it out, and he actually might just retire at this point.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he does. But mid-level exception guys, hint, hint, DeAndre Jordan, wink, wink, Enes Kanter. Those are two names that would absolutely fill a huge hole for Houston at the center position.
The Kings, meanwhile, they get Clint Capela. Marvin Bagley's their 4. Harrison Barnes is their small forward, assuming, of course, they do resign him like everyone expects. De'Aaron Fox, Buddy Hield. You have Bogdan's coming off the bench there. Neiman as well. Add up some other depth guys going forward there. It's a really good core there. I like that a lot, actually, for Sacramento.
Depth is definitely a big question mark for Sacramento in this case, but starting five-wise and youth is really good. I mean, De'Aaron Fox, Hield, Bagley, Capela, all super young guys, and Harrison Barnes is still only, 28 years old? That's pretty solid if you ask me.
And then the 76ers as well, they have Ben Simmons, they have Eric Gordon to get some desperately needed shooting. Matisse Thybulle can play off the wing to replace Jimmy Butler. In theory, they still re-sign Tobias Harris as well. I think it's a really good fit there.
Yeah, and Eric Gordon and Tobias Harris are really the two biggest the spacing that you need that Ben Simmons and Thybulle don't really bring you, and Joel Embiid kind of brings you on the right nights.
I will make note here as well. A lot of people are saying Boston in the comments section. They don't make as much sense.
Boston for
replacing the Kings in this trade.
Okay.
Had they not agreed to sign in the future, Kemba Walker, yes.
Right.
But they have to ship out salary to make it work, and Marcus Smart is not even enough. It doesn't work out in the end.
Yeah.
So it's too complicated there. I think the Kings and Hawks make the most sense. Speaking of the Kings, by the way, let us know if you're a Kings fan. Type Kings in the comment section. You don't think that they exist, Jimmy. You're a hater.
I've heard Kings fans are actually a myth. So if we can see some in the comment section, you might be a bot. And if anybody sees them type Kings fan, you have to counter with bot because I don't know if they actually exist.
I see Pheasant.6 is a Kings fan.
Oh, there's 3.
A lot of them here. I just lost it all because there was too many comments flowing in there.
4.
Trying Perfection says Kings. Tesa Aldo says Kings there. Spacey says you Kings. Now we see people saying Lakers and Heat, and now they're just shouting out their favorite team. So thank you, Kings fans out there. Alex is future Kings fan, by the way.
What does that mean? How are you a future Kings fan?
I don't know. X-Trinix says he's a Kings fan.
That is actually reports, source confirms, those are the only 6 Kings fans in existence. They're in our comment section.
You're
right
a hater. Hater Jimmy over there.
Sacramento
All right,
Queens.
folks, if you are a Kings fan, here's how you can get a free Kings jersey. Head over to chatsports.com/NBA now. Use promo code CHATNBA. Number 1, that gets you a 100% bonus. So you put down $50, they're going to give you $50 for free. After you sign up and deposit, go place your first bet on MyBookie and then text 972-885-0646. That's 972-885-0646, and we'll get you guys a free NBA jersey. Maybe it's Buddy Hield, Marvin Bagley, Harrison Barnes, De'Aaron Fox. If you're a Kings fan, of course. It's a great deal, Jimmy.
Who?
The Kings. Stop it.
Sorry.
Stop it. I don't know why I got baited into that one here. Absolutely baited into that one there. So again, text 972-885-0646. And after you sign up deposit at chatsports.com/NBA now, use promo code CHATNBA. MyBookie, one of the best betting deals out there. That's 972-885-0646. More trades here. How about Bradley Beal? This is one everyone asks about.
Right.
We've put together a package for you. Now, I still think it makes sense for the Wizards to shop him because they're entering a clearly big rebuild. I know that they love Bradley Beal. They don't have to trade him right now because they have time. But if you can get young assets, I think now is the time.
I agree. I think you got to strike while the iron's hot, as they like to say, and send Bradley Beal elsewhere and go get some assets for him in return while you still can, because he's an incredible player. I mean, he is an all-star player.
He's great. Perfect complementary piece.
Yeah, I mean, he is the best guy to be a third option on an NBA championship team. Like, in all reality, that's what he is. He can even be the main option if you're just trying to compete for the playoffs, in all honesty.
All right, so here's a potential Pelicans trade for Bradley Beal. Brandon Ingram, who we know the Wizards like a lot, I think makes some sense there. Josh Hart as well, because you bring Bradley Beal, you don't need Josh Hart anymore there. And future first-round picks. Probably some lottery protections there, probably multiple, maybe one of the Lakers pieces in there. But in terms of what the Wizards could get, I think that's a pretty good haul, if, of course, you believe in Ingram.
Yeah, I think it's a great haul, and then you add in the fact that they just drafted Rui Hachimura. They kind of expect him to take on a pretty big role this next season. John Wall is still there, but he's like not really there because he's just hurt and he's going to be out for a long time. And the Wizards come away pretty nicely with this, and you could potentially make Brandon Ingram a star in a future bigger role.
A little bit more of a guard-heavy lineup here for the Pelicans, but you have the size in Zion and Jackson to balance it out. Maybe then you even look into trading away Drew Holiday, potentially as well, and pair Lonzo and Beal, or you trade away Bradley Beal maybe. I don't know. There are options available there.
I think you look to trade away Lonzo, if anybody here, and you let Beal and Drew Holiday start next to each other. But Drew Holiday is long enough. He's a good enough defender to defend threes.
And so is Ball, frankly, too.
Yeah, in all honesty, I mean, they really are. So it makes sense if you run a 3-guard lineup here. Maybe you make one a 6-man even, if one of them is willing to take on that responsibility. And then, of course, your whole offense centers around Zion Williamson. Everybody's so focused on Zion that you have 2 great shooters in Drew Holiday and Bradley Beal just waiting for the ball on the wing.
The Wizards, meanwhile, they're still kind of caught in the, oh, my God, we have no point guard because John Wall's hurt, so we'll throw Josh Hart in there.
Right.
A couple different various options they can end up going, but none of them make the most sense in the world. But the Wizards have options there in the end. And, of course, Ingram becomes your focal point long term.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't really an exciting lineup if you're a Wizards fan, but the young duo of Brandon Ingram and Rui Hachimura is exciting.
And go through kind of a hybrid guard there. I think it makes some sense. So who wins this trade? Type NOP for the Pelicans and WAS for the Wizards.
The Pelicans win it because they get the better player here, but the Wizards walk away with a really good haul for a really good player.
And, of course, it's more of a long-term haul because they still need all kinds of help.
Right.
They don't have a lot of options there. All right, the 13th Greek god wanted it. Ask and you shall receive. How about an Andrew Wiggins trade, which, fair warning, it's not easy. Because Wiggins is not much of an asset, frankly, for like most NBA teams.
Yeah.
It's a hefty contract. He doesn't play defense. He's an inefficient scorer. Not a great combo to pay $27 million to.
Yeah, like he was the second option on that Minnesota team. If he could become a third option on a team, then yeah, I think he would be pretty good. I still believe, like I actually have a small flag still on Andrew Wiggins' island. I think he can still be a good player, but in the right situation. And he's not in the right situation in Minnesota. It's time to move on.
All right, so let's discuss here a potential 3-team trade. The Cavaliers, Jimmy, they get Andrew Wiggins. By the way, if you don't like this, at me on Twitter, at WhatGoingDown, it was my idea.
They get Andrew Wiggins back, Tom. Summer League Cavaliers legend, Andrew Wiggins. And then, the Minnesota Timberwolves get J.R. Smith just simply to waive him and create the cap space, because what the Timberwolves want to do is go out and chase D'Angelo Russell, and then you include the New York Knicks in here as well.
Also, the Knicks, in addition for taking on John Henson, Jeff Teague, they get picks back.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that's in addition to this there. Here's why I went with this one. All right. Cleveland might as well try.
Right.
They might as well give it a shot there. They dumped John Henson. They can afford Andrew Wiggins in that scenario and J.R. Smith. This all works out from a money perspective, by the way, here. Knicks take on Henson and Teague. If they miss on big-name players, they're just one-year deals. They get future assets, and they develop their young guys. J.R. Smith, by the way, who just extended his guarantee date, goes to Minnesota. Minnesota waives J.R. Smith, and this move actually clears up room for Minnesota to sign D'Angelo Russell. And this is their magic scenario to actually pull it off.
And Towns and D'Angelo Russell are so buddy-buddy, like they're best friends. They're recruiting each other. Or I guess I should say Karl Anthony Towns is recruiting Russell, who is now an unrestricted free agent, or at least going to be once they finally get Kyrie. And so you go get D'Angelo for the max. You just drafted Jarrett Culver. You have Josh Okogie, who's a great defender, and Robert Covington, who's a great defender and a great three-point shooter. That's a really good starting five with some questions surrounding the depth.
Meanwhile, the Cavs, they try, and they get they have Andrew Wiggins, and maybe he develops finally. He goes back to Cleveland. Isn't that fun, Jimmy?
It's fun. It's a great story.
They can still trade away Kevin Love in that trade as well.
Exactly, yeah. And I mean, your whole building blocks are Colin Sexton and Darius Garland, and you have a young wing in Andrew Wiggins that you hope pans out, and you don't really give up much for him in J.R. Smith.
So in the Knicks, of course, they just acquire the contracts and get picks in exchange.
Yeah, so their starting five really wouldn't change all that much, if at all. They do get John Henson, and they don't have any power forwards under contract, so maybe that's something.